Everybody, welcome to CGTN's social media platforms. I'm Silkina Ahluwalia. I'm CGTN's Indonesia correspondent, and today, as you can see here, I am in Tempeh village. Now we're going to talk all. You guys are not familiar with this ingredient. It's a staple ingredient in Indonesia and now in many Western countries. And we're also doing this live streaming in conjunction with World Vegan Day, which is going to be on the 1st of November. So we're going to talk about veganism, the importance of the movement, and why it is a very important movement. And I'm not alone. I'm joined by Alden. Hi, Alden.
Hello.
Welcome to the live streaming program. So Alden here is a vegan, and we're going to talk a little bit about why you became a vegan and your transition, how hard it was, how easy it was, while we talk about the tempeh making process. Okay, before we start, do you like tempeh?
I love tempeh.
Why do you like tempeh so much?
Because it's versatile. You know?
Yeah.
It depends on how you cook it, how you season it. You know, it can serve so many different dishes.
It's very meaty.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the texture.
Yeah.
The texture.
And so for
Chewy.
people that don't know what tempeh is, it's basically fermented soy, fermented soybeans, exactly. So you have tofu, which is very popular. It's a very popular meat alternative. But we also want to talk about its sister, cousin, tempeh.
Exactly.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your transition to veganism. How long have you been a vegan, and what made you interested in the lifestyle?
I've been vegan for 4 years now. Basically, after I learned about the meat, dairy, and egg industry, I decided I couldn't promote it any longer. I couldn't support it any longer. So I became vegan almost overnight. I made the decision overnight, but of course, I cut out one by one. For example, as soon as I learned about the dairy industry, I cut out all dairy from my life the next day. Same with the eggs and all other animal products.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And what was your diet like before you became vegan? Were you a heavy meat eater and a dairy consumer, an egg eater?
Right, yeah. I wasn't a meat eater. Actually, I was a vegetarian for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Before that. But it was not an ethical position. That's what I realized. Because I've always found it just weird, and like I was never a heavy meat eater.
Yeah.
I will always find it weird to eat animals. So that's why I was vegetarian for 7 years. But I didn't know about all these other industries like dairy and eggs and honey.
Yeah.
So after I learned about the dairy industry, I did my research on all the other industries, basically. And I also learned how harmful these animal products are to our bodies and to the planet as well.
Yeah. So what we just saw just now was, I guess it is the fermentation process, because I can see bubbles happening up there.
Right.
So I'm guessing that these soybeans are being fermented. Okay, so back to you. What was the transition like when you made that transition from vegetarian to vegan? And so for people that are not aware, vegetarians do not eat meat, but they still eat egg mostly, dairy,
Milk,
cheese.
Yes.
But vegans do not eat any animal products
right.
whatsoever, including honey, because bees produce honey for themselves, not for humans to consume.
Exactly.
Okay, so what was the transition like for you from vegetarianism to veganism? Was it difficult? Did you have withdrawals?
Not necessarily. I never missed any of the animal food. But at the beginning, I stuck with the dishes that I already knew how to make. Simple dishes.
Yeah.
What people would call boring dishes, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
But they're
like
so good.
Pasta sauce. But slowly, through Instagram, through social media, through many food blogs, I started to vary my dishes. And I started to learn to cook more things. I started to learn how to make risotto, you know, and I varied the beans and mushrooms that I use in my pasta dishes, you know, and I started to learn how to make raw cakes, basically, because I have such a sweet tooth, and so I love sweet things.
Yeah, and you don't have to compromise anything when you go vegan. Basically, anything that you can have non-vegan, you can veganize it nowadays.
There's a vegan version for everything.
Yeah, there's a vegan version for cakes, for custard, for ice cream. Vegan ice cream is amazing. So what are some of your favorite vegan foods? Besides tempeh.
Okay, I love burrito.
Yeah.
I love the mixture of beans and rice and guacamole, and it's packed in such a small package, you know,
Yeah.
like I love biting into all of those flavors and textures.
Yeah.
I also love mushrooms, like any dish with mushrooms. I love like teriyaki mushroom with rice.
Yum.
And then, I love quinoa, anything with quinoa. Quinoa burger,
Yeah.
quinoa soup, quinoa salad. You know, and because quinoa is also a complete protein, you know, so it provides all your amino acids needs.
Yeah. And I was actually saying this the other day. I said like it's so much. I feel like it's easy to be vegan when you eat a lot of Mexican food because like avocados and beans, they're basically staple Mexican food. And I guess in the vegan diet, and I love them. Oh, this cat. So what would you say? I guess this is a question that a lot of vegans get, and you mentioned protein.
Right.
There is no need to worry about getting enough protein in a vegan diet, right? Because nobody has ever been deficient.
As long as they consume enough calories, that's right. Yeah. So if you eat enough, you won't be protein deficient. Because protein is actually in everything. Even vegetables and fruits and everything. It's just that some foods are higher in proteins than others. And one of the foods that is highest in protein is tempeh.
Tempeh, yeah, exactly. And it's such a staple in Indonesian diet. We were just talking to the people here that make tempeh, and they said that there is no reason why anybody would want to eat, chicken to get protein or meat to get protein when they can eat such a simple ingredient that is tempeh, which is basically fermented
soybeans.
Soybeans.
Exactly. Tempeh and tofu both high in proteins.
Yeah.
And I grew up eating tempeh, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting. This is the first time I've seen how it's made.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I love eating it. It tastes good, but I've never seen it made. And so, if you guys have not tried tempeh before, you can enjoy it in so many different ways. And I think in Indonesia, a lot of Indonesian foods are by default vegan, right? You have tofu, tempeh, which you can just eat with rice and soy sauce.
Absolutely, yeah. They use a lot of plants in their food, And in the tropics, there's so many different kinds of fruits and vegetables that you can choose from.
Yeah. So, what do you say to people who think that vegan food is boring?
I think they haven't done their research yet. Because, as I said, there are 20,000 edible plants.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless, in how you cook them, how you prepare them, how you combine them. So if you have a favorite food, just Google your favorite food, let's say burger, and put vegan next to it, vegan burger or vegan hot dog. There are thousands of recipes for you.
It's possible. Or like, if your favorite food is mac and cheese, you can pretty much get vegan mac and cheese anywhere now. You can veganize it.
Exactly.
And they actually taste like cheese.
Exactly.
Yeah. And vegan cheese tastes like cheese because what cheese is essentially is dairy and culture. So you can use non-dairy milk, put culture in it, or when you drain soy yogurt, I heard once the water drains out, that what remains basically tastes like cream cheese.
Exactly, yes. You can use soy, you can use coconut oil, you can use all kinds of nuts. You can make cheese from cashew or almond or macadamia. There's so many options nowadays.
Yeah. And so for people out there that are considering veganism, or people out there that want to be vegan, what are some of your tips for them?
First, do your research. Because anyone, whether vegan or not, they can be deficient in some nutrients or others. So eating well, that's everyone's problems. We need to do our own research for that.
Yeah.
And next, just do it. Just do it. It's
the
best.
Do it,
Yes, exactly. Anyone can do it, and everyone should be vegan.
Yeah.
It's the best option for the planet, for your health,
Yeah.
and ultimately for animals. Because if we can live happy, healthy lives, and we can nourish our bodies without supporting the meat, dairy, and egg industry, why would we? Without harming animals unnecessarily.
Sorry. Really busy in here.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I completely agree what you were saying. Okay, so I'm on Facebook. If you guys have any questions, so we are seeing, okay, somebody said I've never heard about that food.
Which one? Tempeh?
Yeah, I've not heard about it. Tempeh, it's so good. It has, how would you describe the flavor of tempeh? It's like...
I think the flavor depends on the seasoning and the sauces that we use.
Yeah.
I think we better describe the texture of it. I think it's chewy.
Yeah.
What do you think, like?
I think, yes, it has like it's chewy, and then it has like a bit of a bite. Like there's a
Bite, that's
tang
right.
to it,
Yes.
you know? It's like, and I guess that comes from the fermentation process.
Oh, right,
like
yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
quite a bit of a, I mean, I don't want to say soury taste because it doesn't overpower like
No,
the
no, it
entire
won't.
tempeh
Yeah.
flavor.
I think it's more salty than sour.
Yes,
What do you think?
yes, it's salty. Okay, so
Definitely
I guess
salty a lot of the
this
time.
is, you
Is
know,
it the end of the line?
yeah, when it becomes full fermented, because I guess when the bubbles
That's
are
right.
at the
yeah.
top,
These are fully fermented here.
yeah,
right
that's fully fermented.
here. Very interesting.
So a
Wow.
fun fact, or a fact, I guess, almost 100% of the soybeans in Indonesia is imported from the United States.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so we get the soybeans from the United States, and as it reaches here, it is made into tempeh
Okay, I see.
or tofu. But in this particular village, just to give you guys an idea why it's called Tempeh Village, is because there's more than 1,000 houses that produces tempeh here, and it provides a third of Jakarta's tempeh supply.
It's amazing.
So you can imagine,
Yeah.
that's a lot of tempeh because we
Absolutely.
eat a lot of tempeh here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so Alden, do you believe that veganism is the future? Do you believe that there will be a time where and when everybody is vegan, or at least more than half?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Why? Why do
Because-
you think veganism is the future?
Because we live in the age of information, as we can see, people are getting more and more educated.
Yeah.
And when they learn that plant foods are the most optimal foods for the human body, they will start to become vegan. When they learn about the dairy, meat, and egg industries,
Yeah.
they will want to stop supporting it. You know, when they learn how harmful it is to the environment, how they produce 51% of greenhouse gases, how they cut land in the rainforest. You know, when
Yeah.
when the Amazon rainforest is cut down for cattle ranching and to
In
grow
Brazil,
soybeans
yeah.
to feed animals.
Yeah.
You know, they won't want to support it anymore because I'm sure they care about something. I mean, everyone must care about either their health, about the
environment?
planet, yes,
Yeah.
and or about the animals, you know, or about ethics. You know, so and the more people learn, the more they realize that veganism is the only logical solution.
Yeah. And actually, one of the largest study that was ever done in a span of 20 years, it's called the China study. And that was done by
T. Colin Campbell?
Yes, T. Colin Campbell, along with Western and also Chinese scientists. And what they did was, in a span of 20 years, we're going to let this motorcycle pass by first.
Okay.
So everybody can hear me clearly. So what they did was, for this China study, in the span of 20 years, they went to 65 different places in China and, you know, did a study of more than 6,000 people, and they found that, you know, people that relatively ate little to no meat at all, compared to people that, you know, where meat is a staple in their diet. So within these 20 years, they found that people that ate plant-based was relatively much healthier than people that ate meat.
And they tend to live longer.
Yeah, and this is very interesting because one of the lead researcher, T. Colin Campbell, he was actually a dairy farmer, and he was out to prove that you need dairy in your diet to stay healthy, but he
Right. I've heard
just
of that.
couldn't find any scientific proof.
Exactly.
So he converted almost overnight. Well, not overnight because it took 20 years.
That's right.
But he's like, okay, I guess I cannot find any supporting, you know, facts, scientific facts that says that dairy is an important part of your diet. So he shut down his dairy farm, and he is now an advocate for a whole food
Plant-based diet.
plant-based
Exactly.
diet, which essentially means there's very minimal processed food.
Exactly.
Not to say that, you know, I mean, vegans can eat junk food too.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why veganism is not about
Yeah.
about health per se, because you can be
Yeah.
vegan and unhealthy.
Yeah.
But if you want to be healthy, the only diet that's been proven to reverse diseases such as diabetes
Plant-based.
and cancer is the whole foods plant-based diet, as you said.
Yeah, we are getting comments here. Somebody
Okay.
said, of course, veganism is the future. Yay.
True,
Hello.
exactly. Hello. And,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that it would be really fun for us to play like a rapid fire background
Okay.
to debunk vegan myths. So these are some of the things that vegans are tired of hearing. I guess you could say vegans are tired of,
Let's
of
hear
hearing
them.
these. Okay.
What do people say?
The first one. We have been eating meat since the dawn of mankind. So why is it such a problem now?
It's not just a problem now, it has always been a problem and it will always be a problem.
Yep.
Because we as a species have done many terrible things throughout history, you know, like we go to war, you know, we kill each other, but it doesn't mean that we should continue doing it. Now we have the information that we don't need to do that anymore, and we have the information to change our lifestyle to reflect our values. You know, if we believe in equality, if we believe in justice, freedom for others, then the only logical conclusion is to be vegan.
Yeah. Okay, so this one is my personal favorite,
Okay.
and that is, but plants are living things and they have feelings too.
Oh goodness. Well, they certainly are alive.
Yeah.
But they, when someone says plants have feelings, it's a kindergarten level of science interpretation. No, they don't. They don't feel because they don't have a central nervous system like we do. And let's popularize this word. Yeah, sentient. They are not sentient. Sentient means self-aware.
Yeah.
Like a dog is sentient, like a cat is sentient, like we are sentient. It means there's someone in there.
We have emotions, we
Exactly.
feel pain,
We can suffer.
we have a consciousness, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So plants are alive, but they are not sentient. However, for the sake of argument, let's say that plants really can feel pain and you care about plant lives. It takes 10 kilogram of plants to produce 1 kilogram of beef.
Okay.
So by being vegan, we consume far less plant matter than someone who is an animal-based diet.
Yeah. Okay, so this one is a question that every vegan gets.
Okay.
And that is, if you were stranded on a deserted island,
Deserted island.
and there was, you know, a meat in front of you, would you eat that meat to survive? Okay, first of all, I have to interject and say this is very, very unlikely. Right?
Yeah, how often does it happen? Actually, I worry about that every day. You know, like what if
Am
someone
I
comes
gonna get stuck on
Exactly.
on a random island today?
Exactly. So it's
What would I
good
do?
actually.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have any money, like just go vegan and we get stranded on deserted islands. You know, you don't
Yeah.
need money for holidays.
What would you do if you
So if
stranded
there's
on a
what
deserted
did you say, meat or animal on that
Animal.
island? If there's an animal on that
Would you
island,
kill an animal to save yourself?
first of all, I would follow that animal and see what they eat, and I will eat that plant along with that animal.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
if you think about it, like if we eat the animal and there are no other animals, then we die afterwards. You know, like
Yeah.
there's nothing to sustain us. So the thing is, we can live without eating animals, but we can't live without plants. Because where would you get your vitamins and minerals and all the necessary
Because by
nutrients?
eating meat, we're getting secondary protein, which is
Absolutely.
the protein that the meat is getting from the plants,
plants.
and
In the first
soil,
place. That's
obviously.
right, yes.
So, we're eating the animal to get the protein from what the animal is eating. So
Exactly. And it's recycled proteins, and it comes along with excess baggage like cholesterol and saturated fats, which clogs our arteries and lead to diseases.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is. Oh, this is a good one too.
Okay.
And it's, where do you get your protein from? We were kind of talking about it.
Just talk
Well,
about
from
it.
here.
Look at this here.
This is what we get our protein from. We get it from soybeans. Yeah.
Exactly. We get our protein from plants. And I'm quoting Dr. Milton Mills here.
Yeah.
All proteins originally come from plants.
Yeah.
All the protein we found in animals
Yeah.
were once made from plants. Only plants can take nitrogen, split the atoms, and create amino acids.
All right. Okay.
Right.
The motorcycle.
Okay, so in short,
now. Yeah.
we get our proteins from plants. Just
Yeah.
like all animals get their proteins
Yeah.
at the beginning from plants.
Yeah. And I mean, don't forget also that beans have proteins.
Exactly.
Brown rice have protein. Maybe a lot of people don't know, although it has carbs, but it has protein too,
Absolutely.
and it's not bad for you. It's not the enemy.
Mushrooms have proteins.
Mushrooms have
Whole foods have
protein.
protein.
Yeah. And so the next one is, isn't it expensive to be vegan?
Things like rice, beans.
Do you know how much these cost?
Exactly.
They're so cheap.
Dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Rice, beans, mushrooms, fruits, bananas, mangoes. These are some of the cheapest food in the world. Well, it depends on where you live. But
Yeah.
if you buy local and you buy in bulk,
Which
you can
should
save a
always
lot of
do.
money.
Yeah.
Exactly. Try to buy as much local as possible.
Yeah.
Thing is, you don't need to buy, imported grains from other parts of the world. You
Yeah.
know, like, and you can, but if you want to make it more, more expensive.
Like
but
if you want to know that traceability, like you know
Exactly.
exactly where your beans are coming from, or your rice. There's a lot of local farms.
exactly, it's
or
best to buy
farmers,
local. Yeah.
to
Go to your
support.
local farmers market. And it's basically it's more expensive to produce animal-based foods than plant food. Basically.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I mean, these pantry staples are something that you can put in your pantry for a month at
Exactly.
least.
And they
You
last
can
a
buy
long time.
Yeah, you can buy lentils and beans in bulk.
True. Oh, I love lentils.
Yeah, me too. So good. And you can just keep cooking them throughout time.
Exactly. So the answer is it can be as expensive or as cheap as you want it to be.
Yeah. The next one. Can you only be friends with vegans?
No, not at all. Actually, I push myself to make friends with non-vegans as well because I believe we were not all vegan at one point,
Yeah.
So we didn't have the information that we have now. So I believe we should spread the message. We should spread the good message that we can
Yeah.
still be healthy. We can have fun. We can live healthy, happy lives without harming animals
Yeah.
unnecessarily.
And the last one, which I'm sure you have a good answer for.
Let's see.
I could never go vegan because I love cheese and I hate tofu. First of all, who hates tofu? Because
Some people
it's
do.
so good.
Well, it's subjective, but yeah, I understand. Personally, I love tofu. Yeah.
I love tofu.
First of all, you can be vegan. Anyone can be vegan.
Yeah.
Like, there's no necessity for the human body to eat animal-based food at all.
Yeah.
Millions of vegans are proof of that.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you love cheese, I love cheese too. I still
I
eat
love
cheese, don't we?
Yeah,
we just
I
eat
eat
vegan
cheese.
cheese.
Yeah.
So nowadays there are plant-based versions for everything. That's no excuse anymore. And if you hate tofu, you don't have to eat tofu. There are over 20,000 edible plants. There are other alternatives. If you don't like one food, there are so many other fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, and nuts that you can choose from.
And we have companies that are coming up with like mind-blowing products like the Beyond Meat, which
Absolutely.
is essentially, a plant-based burger that tastes exactly like meat. I mean, so, and a lot of argument comes from, when you become vegan, why do you want to taste something that tastes like meat? But it's not about, some vegans don't hate the taste of meat.
That's right, yeah.
We just do it because we don't want to harm another being.
Absolutely,
So it doesn't mean that we
exactly.
don't like the taste of meat,
Exactly.
but we just choose not to do that for the sake of, pleasure for 10 minutes.
We simply think our taste buds are not more important than animals' lives. That's it. And we just
Exactly.
align our actions with our values.
Yeah.
So,
And I think essentially with the first vegan
okay.
myth, where a lot of the argument comes from, we've been eating animals for such a long time. We've been
That's right.
eating animals to survive. But the thing is, we now have a choice not to.
Not to, exactly,
So
yes.
there are, we did used to eat animals because
Yes.
we didn't have a choice. And
Absolutely.
for Homo sapiens that
That's right.
lived in colder areas where not a lot of plants grew in those
yes,
areas, they
absolutely.
only had animals to eat, and so
Exactly.
they didn't have a choice.
Yeah, and that was for survival,
Yeah.
like, it ties in with the desert island questions as well. If it's for survival, we can do the morality is different. We can do some terrible things, but
Yeah.
now in this society, we are more connected than ever.
Yeah.
We have so many different fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and grains to choose from. We can nourish ourselves with plants instead of hurting an animal.
Yeah, there's almost, like you said, no excuse
Absolutely none.
because there's plenty of choices. I mean, I personally ate a fried, quote unquote chicken that was not chicken.
Exactly.
It was made out of soy protein and it tastes exactly like chicken.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm thinking if I can have this without harming another animal, why would I have the real thing?
Absolutely, yes.
It has the same texture as well.
Yeah, you can replicate the texture and the flavor. And if you think
Yeah.
about it, most of the flavors from the food we eat comes from plants, from
Yeah.
spices
Of
and
course.
seasoning.
So that's what I'm saying is that a lot of things that we eat, like meat and stuff, we can veganize it because meat itself it tastes bland without all the spices.
Exactly, yeah. Pretty much like tofu, you know,
Yeah.
like without seasoning, it tastes bland, you know, like
Yeah.
the secret is in how we season it.
And you can make tofu bacon with a little bit of soy sauce and liquid smoke and
Exactly.
smoked paprika.
Absolutely.
Put it in the oven. I mean, you have to crumble your tofu,
I
but
agree. Actually, tempeh bacon is one of the most effective plant-based bacon.
oh, I've never
You can make it
tried.
from tempeh or from aubergine, or
Yeah,
even from coconut bacon.
yeah.
So you can replicate any food you like nowadays, you know. It's
Yeah.
only a Google search away.
Yeah, exactly. Alden, thank you so much for talking to us, educating us on the veganism lifestyle. We need more people like you because climate change is a very important topic. And we hope we're not telling anybody to go vegan overnight. We want to make this clear, okay? And if you eat meat, we're still your friend. You're not bad people. It's okay. Good people
That's
eat
right.
meat too. It's how we were brought up. But you know what? The information is out there.
Yes.
Do your research, and then you can make a conscious decision.
Yes, we're just here to share information. Basically.
Yeah. We're just here to spread the word on what we think could be the future.
Absolutely,
Veganism could be the future.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it could be. It depends on us, on our decision.
Yeah. So, are you doing any activism in Indonesia or?
Yes, I organized a
outside?
Cube of Truth in Bali, in Denpasar,
Okay.
Bali.
Yeah.
And
You live in Bali, which is vegan haven.
Oh yeah, it's very easy to be vegan,
Yeah.
of course. But actually, it's very easy to be vegan
Anywhere.
anywhere because if you think of the victims,
Yeah.
then you set your priorities straight. You know, what's hard is what the animals go through in slaughterhouses and farms. For us, it's very easy.
Yeah, and I think it's important to be conscious eaters, right? When you
Conscious,
see
absolutely,
a
yes.
piece of meat on your plate, think about where that meat came
Exactly.
from. Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, still leave them down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Half an hour?